Hey everyone, it's Ethan or Miist back again for another video today, and welcome back to the channel, guys. We're here again for yet another video. I'm going to be talking about every movie I watched last week, and a pretty solid week, to say the least. We had a decent week. There was a lot of ups and downs, but yeah, let's start it with actually well, not my least favorite movie, but my favorite watch of the week, which was Season 2 of Andor. This is a fantastic season of television, and I mean, Andor is easily the best stuff that we've ever gotten from Star Wars post Revenge of the Sith, in my opinion. Some would say post Empire. So, yeah, I mean, this is truly some of the best Star Wars media we've ever received. It's absolutely fantastic. It's absolutely incredible. It's absolutely amazing. I love this shit. It's so damn good. And although I didn't enjoy it as much as season 1, which is probably a hot take, I do think on rewatch I would enjoy this more. But obviously, starting it off, this first watch through, I'm ranking it a solid 93 out of 100, like I said, for my favorite watch of the week in general. But yeah, let's get into the movies. Starting it off with my least favorite watch of the week, which is Nightmare Alley, which is actually a Guillermo del Toro film, which I want to go through some of his filmography, and kind of started doing that this week. I'm going to go through more of it later this year as well, once we get closer to the Frankenstein release. And yeah, had a rough start to his filmography, to say the least. Nightmare Alley, I did not enjoy. It was a drag. It was boring. It was long. It was uninteresting, and I personally just had no care for this movie. Ranked it a 39 out of 100. Let's move on to one of the most popular movies that I watched this week, which is Requiem for a Dream, which I also didn't really enjoy. I ranked it a 52 out of 100. Not a very captivating movie in my eyes. Now, going through some of Darren Aronofsky's films, I think I've come to learn that I'm not really a fan of his movies mostly, which is kind of interesting, kind of sad, because he's known for some really great movies. Requiem for a Dream, which I didn't love. Black Swan, which I didn't love. So, it's interesting to see some filmographies over others and some people's likes over others. It's just, obviously it's different, film is subjective, but yeah, Requiem for a Dream, didn't really enjoy. Read my review about it. Let's move on. 2, The Shape of Water, which is my only other Guillermo del Toro film from the week, I believe, which, ranked it a 56 out of 100. Didn't really enjoy this movie, and all week, I could not get the picture of that cat and what happened to that cat out of my head, and it was really, really depressing. And also, in my neighborhood, there was a indoor cat that was that escaped and was missing for a few days, which the cat was found safely, thankfully. But all week, this was a really emotional week about cats for me, which we'll get into more later. Anyways, I literally cried watching this movie because of how despicable that scene was. I really, really hated that. I did not like seeing that, and call me a bitch, truthfully, I don't give a fuck. I don't want to see that, and I really hate seeing that, especially when it's a cat. So, fuck this movie. 56 out of 100. Well, let's move on to Stoker, which was okay. I almost enjoyed it. It was okay. Ranked it a 59 out of 100. And this is a Park Chan-wook film that I wanted to watch in his filmography. There's a few others that I want to watch in his filmography, and yeah, this was a decent one. It was okay. Matthew Good, I haven't really watched in many things, but I feel like in every single thing that that he's in, he is this absolutely horrifying man, because his smile is just absolutely terrifying, and he's just so creepy, and he plays a creep really well. and especially in this movie as well. So, quite interesting. Let's move on to perhaps one of the most iconic movies on this list, which is The Lost Boys, which I ranked a 61 out of 100. It was okay. I really have learned that I'm just not a big fan of vampire movies. I don't think vampire movies are that great from my experience, at least. A lot of vampire movies I don't really enjoy, and this is kind of more of the same, unfortunately. Like I said, I know it's a very iconic movie, but it's just didn't really hit for me, and ranked it a 61 out of 100. Well, let's move on to Trainwreck: The Astroworld Tragedy, which is a new documentary on Netflix that I would advise everyone to take a look at, even if you have no interest in Travis Scott. But especially if you are a concert goer, and especially with a crazy, energetic fan base like Travis Scott, obviously this is a pretty interesting film to watch, and quite a sad watch as well. This is a pretty gut-wrenching story of what happened in 2021 at Astroworld, and yeah, it's pretty, like I said, it's kind of hard to watch, but I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a concert goer, because you should be aware of your surroundings and opportunities to be safe. So like I said, definitely I'd recommend this, and I wish that everyone could see this movie just to kind of see what the tragedy is, and it really is just it's hard to watch. It's really sad to watch. Anyways, definitely take a look at this documentary. Like I said, it's on Netflix. Check it out. Let's move on to Before the Devil Knows You're Dead, which is a movie by Sidney Lumet. I believe his last movie before he had passed. And it's a pretty decent movie. It's a pretty good movie. And I want to go through Sidney Lumet's filmography. Started it off here with that, so that's iconic. And I'm looking forward to the rest of this filmography. He's very highly respected director, and like I said, I'm looking forward to going through some of these others. But yeah, enjoyed this movie. A wonderful acting performance from both of our leads, and quite an interesting heist movie, to say the least. 73 out of 100. Let's move on to another 2025 release, which is Predator: Killer of Killers, which I ranked a 76 out of 100, and read my review, but seriously, Dan Trachtenberg is literally putting out the best Predator stuff we've ever had. I know a lot of people think that Prey and now this is like number 2 and 3 behind the original, but no, Prey is easily the best Predator movie we've ever gotten, and this is one of the most unique, obviously. This one is really, really awesome, seeing 3 different decades and centuries, 3 different centuries of characters come together to fight off predators is awesome. And I learned the term aura farming this week, which I didn't even know was a thing, to be honest, until this week. But this movie is literally like the definition of aura farming. These predators are aura farming, and really it makes me excited for Badlands, because like I said, Prey is easily one of my favorite COVID movies, easily one of my favorite sci-fi kind of horror movies, and it's without a doubt by a mile my favorite Predator movie. So I'm looking forward to Badlands. Killer of Killers was a nice breath of fresh air for this franchise as well, and like I said, Dan Trachtenberg is putting out the best Predator content we've ever had, so shout out Dan. Let's move on to Rogue One, A Star Wars Story, which, speaking of aura farming, the absolute peak of the final scene of Rogue One, Vader going absolutely ham. I've told Mel before, I love a good hallway scene. This might be the best. Obviously, this is crazy. When we first seen Thunderbolts, I'd leaned over to Mel when Yelena was going through the hall, and I was like, I love a hallway scene. And yeah, badass hallway scenes are awesome. Old Boy, which I recently watched, was awesome. Guardians 3 has a great hallway scene. Yeah, I love a good hallway scene, and of course Daredevil as well if you've seen that. But yeah. Anyways, Rogue One, nice to finally revisit. I watched this with Mel, and it was. I feel like this was a long overdue rewatch, and I had a good time with it. But ultimately, I feel like me watching back-to-back seasons of Andor, then going into Rogue One, really just kind of hindered my viewing for this movie because it made me care about this movie less, which I don't know. I feel like that's weird because it should make me care about this movie more, and everyone I see says that it makes me care about this movie more. Sorry, I said care. I do care about this movie more. I just think Andor kind of negatively impacts Rogue One because Rogue One is kind of messy at times, and I love Gareth Edwards because he makes gorgeous films with some of the best CGI and cinematography out there. Look at Godzilla, look at The Creator, but his plots aren't always the best. And I mean, that's kind of what George Lucas had as well at some point with Star Wars. Anyways, I still really enjoy this movie. I care for this movie a lot more now because of Andor, and it's really sad about learning about Andor's future and that and his family. It's really hard to swallow that pill. So that kind of sucks, obviously. But yeah, I enjoyed revisiting it. It just was kind of a letdown after watching both seasons of Andor, which are literally, like I said, some of the best Star Wars content ever created. So yeah. Well, let's move on to The Mighty Ducks, which I watched with Goose this week, and man, I really love this movie. I actually raised it from an 81 to an 83, and yeah, this is just a great feel-good movie that'll never get old. This is a fond movie of my childhood as well. I love The Mighty Ducks. Shout out to them. 83 out of 100. Let's move on to Carlito's Way, which I really enjoyed as well. Ranked at an 86. I believe it's my third favorite of the week. And Brian De Palma is a filmography I'm trying to go through this year as well. And I'm glad I was able to watch this and scratch this off the list because I've heard really good things about this movie, and this is a really, really great movie and one I definitely recommend. And yeah, this was awesome. It was a great and quite a unique crime story I find. So it's really great, and yeah, I definitely recommend it as well. Let's move on to my second favorite watch of the week, which is the live action How to Train Your Dragon, which I ranked a 91 out of 100, which is the exact same that I ranked the original first How to Train Your Dragon, because a lot of people are talking about this movie. Obviously, it is a copy and paste of what the original is, which I personally enjoy. I've said for years I don't like live action remakes that change plot points and change these characters. I want to see a copy and paste. I personally would prefer a copy and paste, seeing it in live action. Whether it's as good as the original or not, truthfully, I don't care because it's probably not going to be as good as the original. But I want to see some of these things brought to life, and I loved seeing Toothless brought to life. And man, it's so emotional, man. I love Toothless so much. One of my childhood icons, and now Betty is my little Toothless, and man, it was such an emotional week. I cried so much to this movie, and after the movie, I literally sat in my car for like 20 minutes just cooling off because of how I was just lost. Like, I was just amazed. It was crazy. Anyways, loved this movie. Glad I got to watch it in theaters in IMAX. It was wonderful. Got to see it at the early access show on Wednesday, which the only other movie I've seen that early is Wicked. So that's really awesome. Got to see that. We don't get many we don't get many early access shows here in my city, so that's nice. Well, let's move on to my favorite movie of the week, which is Star Wars, or A New Hope, which, man, It's been far too long since I've revisited this movie, and I had a wonderful time revisiting this movie. This movie is so funny, and I don't remember it being so funny. Specifically, Han Solo. I had a wonderful time revisiting this, and I raised my rating from a 91 up to a 93, which is iconic. So, also, I didn't mention my Rogue One rating went down from an 86 to a 79. Sorry. A New Hope, yeah, it's amazing. I mean, we all know that. Obviously, it's literally changed the science fiction genre. It literally changed film. It changed cinema, and yeah, it really is wonderful. And I love, love the Star Wars. Thank you guys all so much for watching. Hopefully, you did enjoy. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.